We created 13.4 million new jobs.
I have 3 jobs, and I'm still struggling.
And as today's jobs numbers make clear, Bidenomics is working.
Because we're pissed off about the state of the economy.
And both things can be true. We are joined by Professor of Politics and Journalism at Morgan State University, Jason Johnson, MSNBC analyst, and the host of A Word with Jason Johnson. Welcome.
Glad to be here, Ari.
Great to have you. We had Arrested Development, banana stand talk, for those who understand that. We have TikTok, where I've told folks that people are weighing in, and young people are upset about a lot of things, as are other folks dealing with jobs around the country, even as some of the numbers tell an improving story, as we showed. As I mentioned, we came to you for the politics of it, not just the raw data. What do you see here as the political challenge?
Well, I think it's really interesting, Ari. You started with Arrested Development and the blues. I was thinking of another Arrested Development, the ones who talked about everyday people.
And Mr. Wendell.
Everyday people don't view the economy the way the blues do. Mr. Wendell. And Mr. Wendell, and Mama's always on stage. Everyday people are interpreting this economy in completely different ways. And this is the data behind it, Ari, and this is where the politics come in. The kinds of things, and there was a great research study on ABC about this, the kinds of things that used to indicate how people felt about the economy, personal savings, inflation, housing prices, all of those things that mattered before 2020 aren't really registering as statistically significant now. So we are in our first post-pandemic economic election, and nobody knows how people feel, but the vibes are all bad.
Yeah. And so the question is, how do you sell that? We just showed the back and forth, where you do have to stand on the business that you're doing, and they have a story to tell in the White House, but you can't alienate or proverbially gaslight people who feel differently.
So first off, you have to be honest about where the economy is and what people are looking at now, right? So if you are 55 years old and you have a kid in college, your perception of the economy is, I lost a lot of money during the pandemic. Maybe something happened to my 401k. Give me a vision for the future. The Biden administration has to say, we've put investments. We tried to save retirement funds. You will be able to retire. We're going to protect Social Security. Keep Democrats in office and protect Social Security. If you're talking to 18 and 19-year-olds, or you're talking to somebody just graduated from college or just working or just getting out of the military, you have to explain to them that we are diversifying the economy. Maybe in 2019, you were planting money trees. In 2024, you realize you just want some shade. You need to talk about the fact that the Biden economy is not just going to send you out to the mines. It's not just going to send you into the military. There are diverse places where you can get work. It is now Juneteenth, right? The unemployment gap between blacks and whites in America is the lowest it's been in over 40 years. Most black people don't know that. Biden has to explain that in terms of the kinds of jobs people are getting, not just the numbers behind the jobs.
You know why we like listening to you, Jason? We learn. We learn. You had some great statistics. Arrested Development, you took it from the name of the show to the name of the great band. And if I'm not mistaken, you fit in a Kendrick Money Trees reference. And that's all.
Yes, I did.
That's all in a couple answers. Let me turn your attention to something else. So that's the economy. As for the choice, we are going into this general election. And for all the talk about Donald Trump as a felon and an autocrat, there's also whether or not he was good at being president. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that some voters don't view those legal issues or even autocracy as disqualifying. But then there's the question of, do you think he was good at running the country? And Dr. Fauci, who we heard from yesterday and has a new book out, discusses this. Not whether you could debate this or that mask mandate, not whether or not they had the right, edits on the footnotes to the vaccine plan, but deeper failures from someone who served 7 presidents in both parties that he said were unique to Donald Trump. Take a listen.
It's not fun being yelled at by the President of the United States. He could have used the bully pulpit of the presidency to say, hey, listen to the scientists, but he didn't do that. And I would say something that he didn't like, and then all of a sudden I'd be the bad guy. It almost as if he was talking past me, like he was just emoting.
Where does this fit into something that we discussed earlier in the program tonight and what the debate next week may remind people, which is this isn't just a soundbite contest between these two candidates. We are in the rare position of a former president and a current president running. That's not usually the face-off. And you can look at the former president's record. If there were to be another crisis, pandemic, international crisis, of which there are already some, does he put the country first? Does he deal objectively with the situation to protect people? Or, as Dr. Fauci says, does he put himself first personally, even as people died?
All right, we don't even have to go to Dr. Fauci. We can listen to Donald Trump's own agenda. He has said, when I get back into office, I'm going to become a dictator. I'm going to spend the first couple of months in office getting revenge on the people who I think mistreated me. So it's very clear he's not going to be focusing on the American people, maybe only focusing on those people who supported him. But the larger question is this, that I get what you're talking about here. It's an issue of competence. What do you think the president of the United States actually has to do to get the job done? We're in a unique position because, again, we have two people who have been in office and we can see. This is one of the reasons why Joe Biden is arguably in a better position, because he can still say, look, I've had a functional economy. I got the CARES Act. Look at how your life lives now. Everything about Donald Trump has to be looked at in the rearview mirror. He can't change anything he's done. And actually, he has to deal with things like January 6th and the end of Dobbs as well. So when we're talking about competence, it actually helps Joe Biden a bit. If you think Donald Trump was an excellent president, fine, then you can vote for the guy again. But if you think he was a bad president, you also get a chance to see somebody do the job better or do the job now, and that's likely to bring in a lot more voters for Biden if he can make that message.
Interesting. Jason Johnson, always good to see you.